Hello and welcome back to An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about TMNT, the animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film from 2007, and a film that I'm very grateful to for becoming an acronym rather than using the full wording because it made it a lot easier to fit it on screen. And this movie tells us that in the ancient past, a Central American warlord discovered the secret to immortality. Alas, there were side effects to this discovery. His four closest friends were turned into giant stone statues, and 13 monsters were released to plague the earth. Now, you might be thinking that this seems like a strange kind of plot line for the Ninja Turtles, but the original comic book actually featured time travel and alien invaders and all kinds of nonsense, so it's really not that wacky. In any case, switch to 3,000 years later, where the Turtle brothers are in something of a rough spot. Leonardo, the eldest brother, has been away for a year or more trying to learn to be a better leader. I'm not sure that's something that you can actually do alone, but never mind. Michelangelo and Donatello are somewhat directionless without him, and hot-headed Raphael has built himself a suit of armour and patrols the city streets as the vigilante Night Watcher. When Leonardo finally returns to the city, he receives a cool welcome from Raphael, who isn't eager to go back to following orders from the brother he feels abandoned them. And that's a problem, since that immortal warlord I mentioned is back and in town and is gathering the statues of his comrades and capturing the 13 monsters in preparation for some kind of powerful magical ritual. And to help him do it, he's hired the Foot Clan of ninjas, the Turtles' old enemies. If ever there was a time that the brothers needed to be united, this is it. So I was a big fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in their original black and white independent comic book incarnation, and I also enjoyed the cheesy live-action film that came out in 1990. So in 2007, when this film hit the cinemas, nostalgia led me to go see it, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I was disappointed that they never went on to do the sequel that they hint at towards the end of the movie. Apparently, that was because Viacom acquired the franchise shortly after this movie came out, and they decided to go down the Michael Bay route instead. Those movies I have not seen. My affection for the Ninja Turtles has limits, and Michael Bay films lie beyond them. I still think this, however, is a pretty decent movie. Certainly not flawless, but pretty decent, with some interesting aspects. So let's talk about those. So it would be fair to say that this film's animation was not on the cutting edge of the industry, even at the time of its release. It's solid enough, but it's not, amazing. That's hardly surprising, though, when you consider that its budget was less than a quarter of that of Pixar's offering of the same year, Ratatouille. And the animation is certainly not bad by any means. It's generally quite smooth, and some of the environmental effects are done very well. The main obvious weakness is in the human character designs, which are considerably more stylized and simplistic than in their more expensive competition. But then, the human characters are not the focus of this film. The focus lies on the turtles and their supernatural adversaries. And particularly with the latter, I think the film does a really good job. The 13 demonic monsters and the 4 living statues that the turtles must face all look very cool, with dynamic, interesting designs that feel thematically linked while still being easy to differentiate. I think it's good work by the design team. Now, the TMNT franchise has always included a lot of humour and geek culture references, and has gone on to be a source of such references itself. But I think it's always been an action franchise first and foremost. The very first issue of the comic book, the original comic book, is a pastiche of Daredevil's origin story, and then an extended battle to the death with the villainous Shredder, a battle that formed the climax of the first live-action film in 1990. This movie recognises the importance of exciting action, and in particular of exciting fight scenes, and it does a good job of offering a variety of high-octane action sequences. Some attention seems to be paid to making sure that each battle has its own features and identity, keeping it distinct from the others by virtue of its participants, the location in which it occurs, or the narrative themes that drive it. In this last regard, the fight between Leonardo and Raphael, which is key to the four brothers beginning to reconcile as a team, is probably one of the best in the film, from my perspective anyway. Now, the voice cast is solid. This is probably partly because the film eschews casting name on-screen actors in the main four roles, choosing instead to have the Turtles primarily played by people best known for their voice acting work. On-screen stars do turn up in the supporting cast, though they're mostly people better known for television work than for feature films. We've got Patrick Stewart as the Immortal Warlord and Sarah Michelle Gellar as news reporter April O'Neil. The most notable casting choice, however, is right on your screen. Chris Evans is the bad boy vigilante Casey Jones. Man, Captain America gets around a bit. Now, of course, this is looking at it from a 2022 perspective. Evans was nowhere near the level of household name back in 2007 as he is now, post his MCU and other success. He was actually doing a fair bit of voice acting back in those days, and something that he recently returned to with Pixar's Lightyear. And I mean, ultimately, his performance is solid. It's not something that massively lifts or undermines the film. I just thought, his involvement is an interesting insight into the changing landscape of the movie industry over the last 15 years. So in the final analysis, TMNT is a decently executed animated adventure. Fans of the Saturday morning cartoon incarnation of the Turtles might find it a bit grim and short on humour, but as someone who got into the original comics with their quirky mix of violence, melodrama and occasional goofiness, it was quite enjoyable to me. Next time, we're going to look at one of Jane Mansfield's several attempts to establish herself as a serious actress, the 1966 melodrama Single Room Furnished. But that's next time. Until then, thanks for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it.